exemplifies the subject on which he will speak this evening. He is the motivator. Not only because he motivates, but even more so because he is highly motivated. Most of us know that Godfrey has set an all-time record in Toastmasters International. That's literally impossible to beat. Recently, I saw an article on the TI website captioned "A 2-year path to beating." Our presenter did it in 1 year, less 1 day. What most of us do not know is that Godfrey was breaking and setting records like he just did long before he joined Toastmasters. He has held numerous records in the insurance industry, including being the first person to qualify for the $1 million round table in the first 3 months of employment at Life of Jamaica. He's the first person in Jamaica to qualify for and attend the top of the table section of the International $1 million round table. And the only person in the world to be the #1 worldwide agent in American life insurance company for 7 consecutive years, even breaking his own record. On another occasion, I'll continue the encouragement because, after all, we do wish to hear directly from our presenter on the topic of speaking with passion. Distinguished Toastmaster, motivational speaker, Dr. Godfrey McAllister.
I have lived a lot in my time. You know, when I was 16 years of age, I remember saying those exact words. Now that I'm 60 years of age, I find myself saying the same thing. I've lived a lot in my time. This evening I've been asked to lead you in a session on presenting with passion. And I want to say something mind-boggling. All of us can present with passion. 1. 2. Some of us will never present with passion. Could I see the volunteers? All those who will never present with passion. Could you raise left or right, whichever, depending on which you prefer. Can I see the hands of those who will never lead with passion? Okay, all right. You all have some slips of paper in front of you. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at it. Now is not the time. That's why we give them out ahead of time. And I want you to truthfully provide the answers. The names, the line for names for the name has been inadvertently removed from some of the slips. But if you really want to put your name, write it at the bottom. And you're going to answer those questions. And it's okay for you to say to me that you will present with passion. You want to present with passion. You have what it takes to present with passion. But hopefully, at the end of this session, you will be in a position to determine whether you are prepared to pay the price to present with passion. So that's probably my first hint. In order to present with passion, it's going to cost you something. Nobody wants to listen to a nobody. So you can be as passionate as you want. You can jump and scream and rant and rave. That's not what I call passion. Passion has to do with a conviction. It has to do with an inner belief in oneself. Yes, you've got to be full of yourself. I've had to live with that all my life. Those of you who were there on Sunday would know that I crossed that critical, is it the Rubicon? At the age of 14. When I decided that my big head and my stuttering tongue would not define me. And from not being able to relate to any girl, whatever, once I decided to take full control of my life, nothing was a problem. But along with that came some titles that I would have preferred not to have. Like enough, him full himself, him think that him is a cat's pajama, etc., etc., etc. I remember when I shot at some of the records in the insurance industry in Jamaica. Because I was not Jamaican, I am from Guyana. It was concluded that I had to have had to pay a visit to St. Thomas. Because there's no way that I could have come from Guyana and having attended college for 4 years, then straight into the insurance industry except for about 2 years as a guidance counselor et al. There's no way I could have come and shot at all those records. I must have had some assistance. And so my detractors also went to St. Thomas. I believe some of the more ambitious ones went to St. Mary. Some probably went more to St. Thomas and St. Mary. I don't know what's the significance of those patches, but I'm just calling names. We've got to live with that. When I was supposed to speak for the first time in the insurance industry, nobody knew me as a speaker. All they wanted to know was, how did you do it? So they just put me on as a tail-end speaker. And that was the first time I was being heard. And to cut a long story short, let me check the hue of the skin. No, it's being videotaped, sorry. I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful. Let's just say that we had a visitor from overseas. And that overseas visitor in 1960, that's the problem, see? 1978, 79, yeah, 1978, 79. You can get a picture of what that overseas visitor looked like, can you? Of course you can, yes. And he came and he presented in the morning and did an excellent job. Then I shared a few thoughts to wrap up the morning as people prepared for the main event, which was lunch. By the time he came back from lunch, he was supposed to take the platform to start the afternoon session. When he took the platform, and he spoke about how wonderful the last speaker was, referring to myself. And he was supposed to speak for 4 to 5 minutes. And at the end of 20 minutes, he had nothing else to say. Because he had come to show us how to do it. And I saw two gentlemen crying outside. Crying, literally crying. Now people were crying, some were laughing, they were a cross-section, a potpourri of emotions in the actual presentation room. But there were two gentlemen who clearly were engulfed in some very depressing emotions. Later on I learned that those two gentlemen had gambled on my failure. And they lost. And I understand they lost quite a lot of money. What am I saying to you? I'm saying to you that success does not come without its fair share. And yes, I have many stories that I can talk about with passion, because they're my stories. But I want to warn you, I have paid the price for every single one of them. And people will always be entertained by a joke. They'll not be inspired by a joke. Jokes don't inspire. People want to know, first of all, that you are like them. If the gap is too wide between the speaker and the audience, forget it. Especially if they're Christians. Christians only worship God. So if the speaker is too far away, forget it. So you got to do like what Jesus Christ did, who being God, thought it not robbery to make himself equal, and came down and became as a man, to the point where we could now say we have a high priest who is like us, and that is why he can relate to us. But you, and pardon the no blasphemy intended now, you've got to first become God, and then take the step down. Remember what happened to Paul? When they thought he was a God? And he said, no, don't worship me, I am not God. I'm an ordinary man. That is after he had taken the snake off the man's hand and thrown it in the fire. And they were ready to worship him as God. And when he said, I'm not God, I'm only a man like you, they said, say what? You're only a man? And they tried to kill him for being only a man. So, what I'm saying to you is that there's a price to pay for you to be able to speak with passion. I brought a couple things here because whereas our distinguished Toastmaster of the day is a very truthful person, I thought that a prop or two could help. This is one of my relics in 1990. It says worldwide first place agent total PA premium. And that was one of my achievements. As she said, it's for 7 consecutive years I broke the record. Records are not broken by sleeping. Records are not broken by being idle. Records are broken by hard work, by determination, and something has got to drive you. Trust me, it can't be money, because you earn a lot of money a long time before you start to break records. It's got to be something else. And I can't tell you what will drive you. Mind you, I can do that in a private consultancy scenario, and I do charge for those. But certainly in a group therapeutic environment, I can't look at you and say, this is what will drive you. This is another award in the insurance industry. And perhaps this one, though smaller, perhaps is the most outstanding one, because although I was Guyanese, I was the first Jamaican to qualify for the top of the $1 million round table, something that many people do fairly regularly now. But in 1981, I was certainly the first person that did it. Nobody even thought it could be done. And then there's something else that I want to show you, because I can speak passionately about a number of subjects. It's not my chest. And my belly is bigger than it ought to be. And with the help of Fitz, I'm going to be working with it. Because I'm really not, I'm very ashamed actually, that this is as big as it is. I have a lot of gym equipment, and I watch them every day. I guess I'm just not passionate enough about that. But I take off my jacket not because I'm hot, although I'm hot already. But I take off my jacket because if I can be passionate about selling insurance, I'll go to hell if I were not passionate about my faith in Jesus Christ. This is what he means to me. He's the one that makes the insurance possible. He's the one that makes everything in my life possible. He's the one who paid the price for me. And the good thing is that as passionate as I am about this, and also what you will see behind here, and if I turn my back to the audience, it is just for a visual effect. It's not rudeness. I can show you no trophies for this part of my life. I cannot account for my passion with any demonstration of trophies, because all the trophies belong to him. None belong to me. But I believe that there is a third area that I can reasonably say I can speak with passion about. And given the nature of our meeting this evening, I've left this one for last. I can speak passionately about my experience as a Toastmaster.